First of all, we've done all the easy stuff, but all of the hard decisions lay ahead of us. You know, we have got to reform the tax code to make it more globally competitive. We have got to reduce this entitlement spending, particularly as it relates to health care. You know, we got to slow the rate of growth of health care to the rate of growth of the economy, or it will eat the rest of the budget alive. And we got to make Social Security sustainably solvent. If we do these things, we can go a long ways to stabilizing the debt and keeping it on a downward path as a percent of GDP.
Well, the sad part of it is the mountain roared and gave birth to a mouse. This thing isn't going to do anything, really. We're the healthiest horse in the glue factory right now. The trajectory of debt, deficit, and interest right now, the trajectory of debt, deficit, and interest will match any of the pig countries. Portugal, Ireland, Italy, Spain, match it, but of course we're lots bigger.
This was the magic moment. This was our opportunity to do something really big to bring down this deficit and put our fiscal house in order. Yes, the president has taken some steps forward on the entitlement programs, but has he done enough? Absolutely not. And has the speaker shown the flexibility he needs to show in order for us to broaden the base and simplify the code and reform our tax structure, or to be specific about which ones of the entitlements he would actually reduce? No. What we've got to do is both of us have got to get out of our comfort zone, both sides, and we've got to come together and make the tough decisions it takes to bring down this deficit.
And let me tell you, we know everybody out there in the Congress knows exactly what we have to do. And when Erskine and I traveled around for that whole year, we knew they were in Congress because I could see their button. I didn't know any of them. And they said, save us from ourselves. How's that for courage?
We got something. We got about $620 billion worth of revenues. Unfortunately, it was a missed opportunity. This was a magic moment to do something really big about our long-term fiscal problems. It is absolutely crazy to even contemplate having a default on our obligations or on our loans. That's, you know, anybody who's in business would tell you that. What we ought to do is to begin to negotiate now to really bring down our spending. We've talked about revenue a lot in the last several months, but we haven't talked near enough about, you know, really reducing the cost of our entitlements, slowing the rate of growth of health care to the rate of growth of the economy, you know, making Social Security sustainably solvent, really stabilizing the debt so that it's we can put it on a downward path as a percent of GDP. Why don't we act like grown-ups and start to negotiate today and see if we can find that common ground? I know it can be done because I've done it. President Clinton set me up to negotiate the balanced budget agreement with Newt Gingrich. Nobody believed it could be done. Partisanship was at an all-time high. They were impeaching the president. But we got it done because we decided we would put that partisanship aside and pull together rather than apart and put the country first, and that's what we got to do now.
You know, I think going over the cliff would have been an economic disaster for the country. It was too much, too quick, too abruptly. And if you look at the cuts that were, you know, in the sequester, they're all in the discretionary items. None of them deal with the things that we really need to slow the rate of growth on, and that's the entitlement programs. And it did generate a little revenue for the country, about $600 billion worth. So I would have voted for it. It was a step in the right direction, but for sure, Wolf, it was a missed opportunity. We've had enough of this brinksmanship, this moving from crisis to crisis. That is a foolish way for any organization, small or large, much less the U.S. government, the largest economy in the world, to run its organization. Here's what we got to do. We have got to make the tough decisions. And we're only about halfway there of the things we have to do. We've got to make sure that we, reform our tax code. We got to broaden the base, simplify the code, get rid of some of this backdoor spending in the tax code. We've got to slow the rate of growth of the entitlement programs, particularly health care. If we don't slow the rate of growth of health care, it will absolutely bankrupt the country. And finally, we got to make Social Security sustainably solvent. These are the big items we have to deal with if we're going to stabilize the debt and get it on a downward path as a percent of GDP. I don't care whether you're a Republican or Democrat. Together, we created this mess, and it's our responsibility to clean it up. We can't leave this to the next generation.